Hi, my name is Melissa Peacock. I am the founder of The Perfect Resume, and I'm here to give you 7 proven strategies that will boost your chances of getting your dream job. Resumes are great, and I am a full advocate for them, but sometimes when you're going for those really lucrative positions, it's really important that you go one step further than the resume. Let's say you're going for something like ANZ and it's a big corporation and you've been wanting to get into the company for a really long time. Sometimes it helps to reverse engineer the job search. If they're looking for an accountant, the employer might be looking for someone with specific accountancy skills. It might be increasing the budget, or it might be reducing costs. If you connect with the actual employer, you'll find out what their pain points are, and then you can reverse engineer the cover letter to address those pain points. If you, let's say they want to reduce costs, you can actually actively talk about a company where you've actually worked with stakeholders, you've implemented and brainstormed different solutions to be able to reduce those costs, and at the end you've got a really tangible result. And you can share that with the potential employer coming up next. But without that touch point of actually contacting the employer and finding out what their pain points are, it makes that process really difficult. One way you can do it is by looking at press releases. You can find out the funding that they've had. Sometimes they're little tidbits of information that you can use to go, this job is mine, give it to me, basically. Tip number 2 is all about having a digital presence and a consistent one. So when I was a recruiter, what I would do is I would have a look at the resume if it came in through Seek, Career One, etc. And then I would go to LinkedIn. Now, if I liked what I saw in the resume, that would be an easy tick box to go to the next stage. But when it came to LinkedIn, if the information was blank or there wasn't a lot to go on, sometimes it hampered the progress to go to that next stage. If you've got a really consistent resume that says everything that the employer wants and they're really happy with it, then they go to LinkedIn and they see a consistent story and extra little bits of information like your headshot, profile, about you section, and everything says a really consistent story, then it's really easy to put you through to the next stage. Another part of having a consistent profile is making sure that you are actually optimized for SEO. What that means is basically when you're headhunting someone, you will type into LinkedIn that you're looking for a marketing specialist or someone with 0 skills. Not 0 skills, as in 0 as in accounting platform skills. If your profile isn't optimized for these keywords and they're relevant for each job, each career, each industry, then you won't actually come up in the search results. So you might have an amazing resume, you might have an amazing LinkedIn profile, but if they still can't find you in those search results, then it makes it really hard. Optimizing the profile with the skills that are in LinkedIn when you apply for a job is actually really important to make sure that you can be found. Tip number 3 is for our graduates out there. When you're finishing a course and you're one of 300 other students, times that by the number of universities that are all around Australia delivering that same course. That's a lot of students who have certificate as you. They've all got the same novice skills. The one thing that can help you stand out are things like internships. Whether that's paid or unpaid internships, it will go a long way to help you stand out. Paid internships are extremely competitive. If you have an unpaid internship, then it actually still gives you the same edge on your resume as a paid internship, but it's actually a lot easier to go for. For example, if you're a marketing person and you want to gain real world skills in social media marketing, you can go to any small business owner, which will go a long way when you get to that interview process. So even though it's unpaid, it's still 100% worth your while. Tip number 4 is giving something away for free. Now, I see this a lot on TikTok. They give chocolate and mugs, all sorts of really nice things to their potential employer to get a job. Now, donuts will go a long way in a team. However, you don't have to give monetary items. What you can give is a bit of a glimpse of what the job role would look like if you were to be hired. So going back to a marketing assistant job, one of the things that you could give is a marketing plan on a page. So you can show that you have researched the target audience and you have some solutions for them that will increase their brand awareness or increase their Facebook reach, or maybe you've identified that they're not on Instagram or whatever it might be, and you've got a plan in place to fix that. Just a one-page A4 that quickly shows that you're the candidate for the job and you'll be able to hit the ground running. Something like that can be a really nice compliment to the resume and cover letter because nobody else is doing it. If you can get that edge in, it's worthwhile. Number 5 is strategic networking. Now, I'm an introvert, so I'm not good at public events. If I knew that I really wanted a company and they were going to be there and I was going to meet the CEO, you know where I would be? I'd be at home in my pajamas under my bed. I wouldn't be at the public event, no matter how much I wanted it. One of the things that an introvert can do to strategically network and still build those touch points is to get online in virtual events. Usually someone in the senior team is there. So what you can do is you can use the chat function to ask them really insightful questions. You can compliment them, you can give them thumbs up when they say something that you really value, and you can ask them at the end if you can hang around and ask a few more questions. Usually they'll say yes to that. Sometimes they'll say no, we don't have time, or we've run over, or whatever it might be. But then you can follow up with an email afterwards. If you have a fear of public speaking like I do, don't worry, you can still do virtual networking. Worst case scenario, you can connect with them on LinkedIn and send them a message and say, hi, my name is Melissa. I'm really interested in your company. I've been following you for a while. I don't want to ask any questions. I just want to let you know that I am available for work. If you need anyone, please connect with me and I'll share my resume just so you can have it just in case. They're likely to connect with you. You'll be able to send them your resume, and because you're not asking for anything, there's no onus or risk for them to take. They'll open it, they'll have a look, and then hopefully they'll give you a call. It's one step further that you can take than to just apply for a job online. Tip number 6 is for project managers, consultants, project coordinators, etc. If you look exactly the same on paper, you've all done projects, stock standard project management, professional development courses. The thing that can help you actually stand out is to actually do a deep dive into your project. For one client that I've worked with, we actually made a A4 pitch for each single project that she worked on, and then it outlined the overview of the project. It broke down the actions and the steps of each part of the project and what the aims were. We identified what the KPIs were and how the challenges were addressed, and then at the end what the tangible results were. And then they were actually able to give that over to the hiring managers at the interview, so then they could sit there and flick through all the projects that they'd actually worked on throughout the tenure. That went a really long way to building up personal pitches for contracts as well, because as a project manager, you might not only work for a company as an employee, you could actually be a paid consultant and work on short or long-term projects. Project portfolios are actually really lucrative to be able to tap into those contracts that may not even have come up yet because the company haven't found a consultant, or they know they need to do the project but they don't have the internal resources to do so. The last tip is tip number 7, and that's all about closing that feedback loop. So for an employer, they know they need someone, they're short on the ground, or they know that one of their valued employees is going off on maternity leave or whatever the circumstance may be. They're really busy because the team's stressed out, they're short, they're trying to do as much as they can and still meet their targets. The last thing that they're going to think of is to give you feedback on an unsuccessful resume. And the most important thing that you can do is to touch base with them. When you get that unsuccessful application, don't leave it too long because they're not going to remember you. The second thing that you really want is feedback on your application so that you don't make the same mistake time and time again. I see this a lot with applicant tracking system areas. So you get lots of unsuccessful notifications, but you just don't know why you're not getting the job, and your skills all tick the box and everything looks perfect on the application. You've spent time and effort on it, and then 2 to 3 days later you get an unsuccessful notification, and it's just really frustrating because it happens time and time again. If you had contacted the employer and said, I've received this unsuccessful notification, is there any chance you can give me some feedback so that next time when I apply, I can make sure that I answer those gaps for you? Sometimes they won't give you an answer, but sometimes they will. And then if an application system issue happens, you'll know straight away, because then they'll come back and say, actually, I didn't get your application. And then maybe they'll put you through to the next round because you've had that contact with them. The applicant tracking system formatting on your resume is so important. If you do think that your resume is ticking a lot of the boxes and you're not getting that consistent interview rate, reach out to us. Let me know on info@theperfectresume.com.au. We'll review it for free, give you some feedback, and then we'll also recommend some services that might suit your needs. Things that aren't so good could be 10-page resumes with so much information that the employer just doesn't have time to read them. Or it might be that you don't tailor it specifically so that it looks really strange when you're applying for a retail job when you actually had 10 years in the mines, or vice versa. So it's really important that you do keep working on your resume and cover letter until you've got something that is consistently right. Now, you can fast track that process with a resume writing service like the Perfect Resume. You can also do it when you apply, ask for feedback, and implement the things that really matter. So that is 7 proven tips that have helped get people jobs. Before you go, hit the button that says subscribe, and that way you'll get free tips from me or the team whenever they get released. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.